Okay, so I just hit the button to go live. We'll see if it's actually broadcasting in a second. There's a little delay. Okay, I believe we are actually live. Cool, awesome. All right, folks, so just going to go full screen with it. Okay, put you guys on the screen. Okay. We're live, folks. What's up? Check it out. You're actually checking out the unified platform. We are here with the World Peace for Forgotten Nations. Now, today I'm going to explain to you guys how this operates. The thing is that we have people from all over the world attending with perspectives from Africa, Asia, the Americas, things like that. And the thing is that I have access to Lillian Thomas Greenfield, who's the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, and she's going to be in town at the National Action Network National Conference. Shout out to 12 Veils. Now, the thing is that I'm going to be there. I can submit some of these recommendations to the U.S. ambassador. Also, I will be emailing this list of recommendations to every single federal candidate running for office in the 24 election cycle. We did this in the 22 election cycle. They'll be able to vote, and things that get unanimous support will be presented once again with additional support to the ambassador and to the other federal candidates running for office and to electeds, right? It's a good way. So there may be people who have different opinions or ideas here today, but like if we had like a general proposal, like I want there to be no more military actions or held off of the coast of other sovereign nations, right? Or if I don't want there to be predatory trade agreements, those are the types of things that would probably pass easier than something very specific. Like, I know Alan Bell is actually forming the IDF as part of Israel, right? Yeah, I know this is controversial, but there's nothing that stops him from making that proposal, right? Once again, but that does have to pass the unanimous vote to have more support, you know what I mean? So it just is what it is. Now, the thing is that also I want to shout out, this work today would not be possible without Susan Busher-Lachaki. She's in the top left-hand corner of my screen. She's running for U.S. president. She made a significant contribution that allowed my work to make today's event possible, and your help is definitely urgently needed. Honestly, fighting the blackballers in this field is very difficult, and I'm not funded. And she just came with a very generous donation, and I was like, oh my God, I have to shout out. So she's got a new Facebook open mic coming up where you can interact with her. I also want to shout out Green Party Alaska. They're doing some phenomenal work getting different U.S. presidential candidates together. There's unfortunately a little club of group that wants to determine what goes on in this space. They don't get to determine, right? Yeah. I don't agree with everything Green Party Alaska is doing, but they're doing some solid work out there. So I would definitely go check them out. Shout out to them. Now, today, my co-host Lisa's not here yet, but I do have a very special guest. He's going to be doing the forward. James Rusi, a man whose work I admire from the Unified Platform 22, was really based off of some of the foundation of his ideas. I'm going to let him introduce himself. He's a wonderful way to start this international panel discussion. Go ahead, James. Blast off.
Well, thanks for having me. Mostly here to support your work and listen to what everyone else has to say. I'll talk all day long if you let me, but I would really much rather keep my aspect of this really short. What I've been doing for the last 2 years is tracking the negotiations at the World Health Organization regarding amendments to the international health regulations and a new proposed pandemic treaty. Let me see if I can summarize that in about 2 or 3 sentences. The latest version of the amendments would be adding language into the international health regulations, enabling nations to quarantine international travelers if they're not vaxxed or they don't pass some sort of test upon attempting to disembark from their travels. Needless to say, I'm vehemently opposed to adding such authority to every nation in the world. The other discussion, the other negotiations, totally separate document, the one I just mentioned is amendments to an existing agreement. The new quote-unquote pandemic treaty is not really a treaty. It's what's called a framework convention. And all I really should have to say is, well, think about the 1992 Framework Convention for Climate Change. How's that all working out for everybody? And so what this would be is a framework convention for pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response. And what I'm about to say should sound unbelievable, but this is what they're proposing. They want to divert $30 billion a year. WHO's budget is only $4 billion. So they want to go up an order of magnitude, and they want to do what the Defense Department of the United States is pretty much already doing through the World Bank and the Pandemic Fund. We've allocated $5 billion over the next 5 years. The WHO has fund envy. They want $30 billion a year to essentially go looking for pathogens all over the world, bring them into a WHO coordinated laboratory network, have all of the pathogens be run through what they call a pathogen access and benefit sharing system, which means you got to realize that genetic sequences from pathogens, little tiny data file, is worth hundreds of billions of dollars if pharmaceutical companies turn that into drugs and jabs. They want to be reimbursed, essentially. They want benefits as part of their pathogen access and benefit sharing system. Then they want to set up the WHO as the global distribution and logistics hub. They've already got in Dubai that is 20,000 square meters. So what I have dubbed this is the new OPEC. If you're familiar with OPEC, the oil producing and exporting countries, this is actually looking to set up an organization of pandemic emergency corporations, where they would be looking for pathogens to scare you with, and then turning that into a profit, distributing all the products, while the Director General would be able to declare there's an emergency here, there's an early action alert there, there's a pandemic emergency there, and just churn all of these contracts through this yearly meeting of the Conference of the Parties.
Okay, so
I'll stop. I was going to stop there
okay.
and just tell everybody that you can go to exitthewho.org, get all of the information. I'm borrowing a phrase from 4 years ago. I'm sure everybody heard 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Well, we've got 2 months to flatten the who. They are having their meeting at the end of May 27th. And I always give everybody my phone number. I'll put it in the chat. But for those who are watching, my phone number is 310-619-3055. Look at the information. If you think that's all a great idea, call me up and tell me why. I think it's a horrible idea. I think it's a diversion of valuable resources. If you haven't heard about it, now would be a really good time to start paying attention.
You know what? Your experience in working in the international field is really, really superb. I've been in a lot of meetings with you with people from all over the world, so I know you've had a lot of experience on these issues, and I really appreciate your insight. He'll be able to help other people here. Now, what I was going to ask at the last moment was, I liked how you have the name of the group called like End the Who, right? Yeah, and I really don't want some globalist organization deciding what healthcare is right for me. And if you guys have like a simpler idea, once again, by the way, I just want to shout out that this unified platform today is on Peace for Forgotten Nations, but anybody here can have a separate unified platform 24 event on their own. And I believe that in June, James Grucey will be heading a specialized vaccine-related, unified platform event on his thing in partnership with us, that we're going to be sending all of our people over to his thing to check out and his experience on that. But once again, we're here to help you design, right, your own ideas for submission to the ambassador and for all the U.S. federal candidates. And his insight will be good. So I think that someone just jumped in. I think, is it my co-host Lisa? We're going to actually take a quick moment to go around the room and have everybody introduce themselves real quick. I know people dealing with really serious situations right now. And shout out to everybody. I'm sorry to all the victims. Yeah, I hope that Haiti shows up. So is Lisa here? Is that Lisa who jumped in? No. Okay. I saw someone customer service. I thought that was my co-host Lisa.
No, that's Lucci.
Oh, Lucci was Lucci. Oh, thank God, Haiti's in the room. All right. I was hoping hoping Haiti shows up. I also hope my co-host shows up. So, starting from top to Susan Busher-Lachaki, once again, shout out to her for sponsoring today's event. I'm going to go from top left to bottom right on my screen, and everybody introduce themselves. So, Susan, you have a quick introduction for yourself, and why you're all in today's panel. I can't hear you. You're muted, Susan.
Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so I'm glad to be here. Thanks for organizing this, DJ Elf7. I really appreciate all the work that goes into your work and to these these discussion groups. Anyway, I am Susan Buxer Lahaki. I am running for president of the United States, and currently I'm a write-in in most states. And in a few, I will have to be independent. So I'm working on all of that. Plus, as some of you know, I am trying to change our election process because it's really unconstitutional, actually. And as a president, one of the things you have to do is defend the Constitution, and so therefore, I'm suing all the states at the moment because it's unconstitutional to make U.S. citizens register to vote to have our vote counted. So that's my original contribution to this whole peace process in the United States. And as some of you know, too, I got into running for president or campaigning and getting my message out because of peace. I am a peace promoter and a peace activist, artist by trade. And now I've turned it into campaigning and trying to bring change to my country, the United States. I thought for me, when I started back in 2020, you know, what better position to have than to be president of the United States to promote peace. And so I'm here tonight to hear what everybody is experiencing and to get ideas of ways to go forward about the peace process. I'm doing my own homework that I've discovered some things about the UN and Palestine and stuff like that that I don't particularly agree with, and I have to figure out if I become president, how can I change that? So anyway, so I'm here to listen and to contribute, just like all of us.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to tonight. Thank you.
You also brought in our next guest, by the way, and I also want to say that you also have some time in Switzerland, I believe, where you've got to see the system over there. So that's cool that you have that perspective from Europe as well as the U.S. But you brought in our next guest, Maria. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and you know what brought you today?
Yeah, yes, sure. Probably I can first talk about what is my motivation for peace. I passed from 8 years old to 16 years old under bombs and missiles of Saddam, Iraqi monster, who was supported by more than apparently 128 countries all over the world. um, as a child, I was asking always why we are bombed and why this monster, this dictator of Iraq, is supported from Union Soviet of that time, and then also the West, and then the Arab monies and everything was there to support him and bombing us. So that was the question. So I decided to learn international language to be able to listen to people, listen to different medias, and also being able to talk to them. And I worked hard, and I was 72nd person among 1,100,000 people to enter the university as an English translator in Iran. Today, I'm talking to you. I'm learning Chinese as a sixth language. And during those years, I did several studies, but particularly 3 masters in Europe, 2 in Paris, and 1 in Switzerland, in Geneva and Basel, around humanitarian actions, peace building, and conflict resolutions. And my last master in Basel University, my lessons I had with Johann Galtung, who is the founder of Peace Sciences, and probably, I mean, we really need to see the question in a multidisciplinary way to be able to understand first and then be able to suggest some solutions. So that's a little introduction.
I can't wait to hear your suggestions. Yeah, from everybody actually. Next is actually Emmanuel Pastrike. He's been a guest on the program for several historical achievements. I'm actually very excited he's on the panel. His credentials are stupendous. But I'll let him introduce himself. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Well, thank you. My name is Emmanuel Pastrike, and I'm speaking today from Tokyo. I also declared my candidacy as president in 2020, and then in 2023, I was very briefly a candidate in the Green Party, and I, like Susan, am very committed to returning the United States to its constitutional foundations, and specifically addressing the institutionalized criminality, and secret governance, which has really destroyed the United States. I'm in Asia is my field. I originally was a Chinese major, and I use Chinese quite a lot. I studied and lived in Korea for 12 years, and written 7 books in Korean, 4 books in Chinese, and 4 books in Japanese. I'm in Japan now. Another part of in addition to the issue of ending secret governance and ending institutionalized corruption and criminality, is for the United States to take Asia more seriously. And my hope was to be a president who could actually speak Asian languages and understand them. And Korea was where I spent the most time. And of course, the division of the Korean Peninsula is at the center of this Cold War mentality, and it deeply corrupted the United States, because the Korean War and the division of the Korean Peninsula is what kept the United States from returning to a peace economy after the Second World War, which I think is probably one of the greatest tragedies that the world has suffered from. I'm honored to be with everybody and looking forward to learning from you all.
Okay, Lily from Colombia, I think that is.
Yes. Hi. Thank you. I'm from Colombia, South America, and I am here in Columbia, South Carolina. Thank you for this invitation. For me, it's an honor to be with all of you. I hope I can learn some of your culture as well as you can learn from mine. I have studied in different countries, and the idea of being here is just to share some of these experiences that have brought me into this new world, where I can see that there are many ways to contribute to peace in a different way. So I'm here to listen to all of you, and then I'll share what I have for you. Thanks.
All right, Alucci.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I'm here to speak about what's been on the news a lot lately, the whole Haiti situation. And I think a lot of people just simply don't understand it, don't get it. And the reason why people do not get it is because we've been, believe it or not, you've been socially engineered not to understand Haiti. If you notice, anytime you hear a news story about Haiti, or you read an article about Haiti, or you look up in the Encyclopedia Britannica about Haiti, they always have this exact title: Haiti, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. That's the one part about Haiti that I guarantee you every single person in this room knows. And the reason why you know that is because you've been psychologically programmed to know that. Because the truth about Haiti is that Haiti is the first and still the only black nation in this hemisphere. If you look at any other black nation, quote unquote nation, that's in this hemisphere, it's actually still a colony. If you look at Jamaica, that's a colony of the Great Britain. If you look at any one of the islands other than Cuba, which is an actual nation, Haiti, which if you go historically, the whole island was Haiti. Eventually, it became Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Outside of that, you have Guyana, and that's it. Every single other nation, or quote unquote nation, is actually a colony of either France or Great Britain. So just to get that one part clear now, Haiti's been the first black nation in this hemisphere. The revolution started in 1789, finally ended in 1804, where Haiti had its independence. Now, Haiti, the actual mass of land, is, I wouldn't even say one of, it's the richest piece of land in this hemisphere. And I'll tell you why. Haiti's the second largest uranium reserves. Haiti has the largest gold reserves in this hemisphere. Haiti has very, very good land for agriculture. Haiti has more petroleum than Venezuela. So now I'll continue with this. If a lot of you remember the politics of the 80s, because in the 70s, Haiti was the top country to go to vacation, tourism in the Caribbean, top one, because Haiti's so massive. And also, Haiti, ever since its independence, had the majority of the hold of all its resources. So it didn't really have too much outside influence. Um, so because of that, Haiti made a lot of money. So here in the US, it decided to start a campaign against Haiti. So when the AIDS virus first appeared, they wrote in all the medical journals that the AIDS virus originated in Haiti. So I don't know if a lot of you remember the 80s. There was this huge deal where Haitians had AIDS. You know, again, that all goes along with the social engineering. I'll bring you to my point fairly soon. All of it's not true, but all of it leads to you just saying, oh, those Haitians, who cares what happens to them? Now we'll move forward to the first invasion, 1994. That was the Bill Clinton invasion. I guarantee you no one will even know why Haiti was invaded. But we did get invaded in 1994. The reason why was because we elected a president in 1991, and that president decided to start retiring some military people and starting to certain type of changes, and so he ended up getting overthrown. When he got overthrown, we had a military intervention like 3 years later to bring him back in. So that was the first time we had that invasion. Now, with that invasion, though, they actually cracked open uh, access to, we'll say, the West into Haiti. And gradually but surely, they continued to grind away at the resources, grind away at the economy, grind away at different parts of what made Haiti so
You know what?
strong.
I'm gonna Lucci. Yeah, if I could just a second. Yeah, I think we should have an actual separate show all about the Haitian situation, because honestly, there's so much history there, and it's a rich history. And you're absolutely right about some of the things you're saying. I'm gonna let you continue in a second, but I just want to
Yeah.
actually do want to wrap up, because the thing is that I do want everybody to have a chance to introduce themselves really quick, and then what we're going to do is we're going to introduce proposals specifically, right? Yeah, to stop predatory trade practice, to stop, right, some of the issues that you're talking about. But everybody, I want also to have an opportunity to present a proposal to be brought to the ambassador and to all the people. So you're saying several things that need to be addressed, right? Historically, that show us, right? We're talking about the, being the Black nation, honoring that history right there, and then also more recently, now you're talking about the, as a Korean American, by the way, I feel also that my history is not, the knowledge of what's going on in my history is not known. Also, Madi was there talking about being bombed from. I really did not know that until just now. I never heard this before, so I've never heard from someone who was there when Saddam was, or you said Saddam Hussein was throwing the bombs, yeah? So I gonna find out new stuff today, right now. Colombia, I'm very excited to have her here. So
Do you
I'm gonna let
mind
you
if I just
finish.
summarize the
Yeah,
end?
please.
I'm just gonna,
Thank you. Yeah, please. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just gonna wrap
Wrap
it
it up.
because
Go ahead.
I was getting to a point, and well, that brings me to the point here today. You've heard barbecue, and you heard that barbecue is this cannibal, and Haitians cannibal. The reason why people are so believe it so much is because of that psychological warfare that's been pretty much launched against Haitians for quite a time. So I'm really interested to really delve into it so you could really understand what's actually going on in Haiti, and it has nothing to do with the people eating people or a person named barbecue.
All right. Mark Zafman, actually, I've been with him in front of the United Nations several times, advocating on behalf of the disabled. We're there for the economic, and we can also be a partner for you, and I will be a partner for Haiti. I can't wait to be a partner for Haiti, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely lots to
I'm
talk
sorry about
about.
what you guys are going through right now. I've had my own people suffer and had the news
Yeah.
not care. But Mark, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Mark Saffman. I'm a Black deafblind individual living in New York. And actually, global international affairs is just something I've been, it's been part of my life, since growing up around the DC area. Um, uh, for this discussion of disabilities, disability policies, or what I can talk about, and I'll just leave it at that. I feel like there's a lot of issues with deaf blindness and investments being made around the globe for disabled services, and there's a lot of common ground where countries could focus on providing services Start doing a lot more discussions to foster international cooperation when they're talking about disabilities. Simply because if you're blind in New York, if you're blind in India, if you're blind down in Venezuela, you're blind. You need Braille. So there's a lot of common ground. And there's really not a lot of facilitation of between disabled people directly. But so look forward to hearing from everyone. And definitely, Lucy, what you're saying about Haiti, yeah, like the situation there has been pretty bad for a very long time, and it all dates back to the fact that the Haitians kicked out the French, and the French and all the Western European white folks are still pissed off 200 years later.
Yeah, they are being punished. Yeah, and if we could put like Braille on emergency supplies, then I think that's a great idea, Mark. So I still have some other people. It says 4 others. Oh my goodness. Yeah. If you haven't spoken yet, I believe that also Moto was here from Kenya. Very very excited to hear from Moto. Want to introduce yourself?
Okay, hi. My name is Moto Morito. Moto means fire in Swahili. I'm from Kenya, and I'm a young person who wants to live in a new world, in a new Africa mostly. And I was associated with the matters to do with peace through the United Nations and human rights, where I decided to travel 12,000 kilometers around East Africa just on wood and water to Zanzibar and islands. And this got me an opportunity to go to Asia and Europe and now in the Americas, where the islands are the islands are really suffering because it's just a reflection of, where Africa is, who Africans are. And as a young person, I believe that the problem with this society and these times is that the young people are actually neglected, where education and misinformation is out there. Thus, people don't know what is true, what is right, and immorality, all the chaos that comes from people not having order has sprung up, and it calls for young people to drive change and to be the voice of the future, because our children depend on our voices. Our children depend on our actions today, and if we don't do anything right now, we're just gonna repeat the same mistakes. So I'm very excited to be here and want to share all the ideas that I have and solutions to build a better sustainable future. Thank you.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm very excited. Actually, the next person up is actually a candidate running for office. His name's Emmanuel Findley, and he's running for. Are you running for state assembly or state senate? State assembly. Right?
Assembly for the
Yeah, state
79th
assembly.
district.
I think I remember. Yeah, state assembly. And he's actually running in the Bronx Conservative Party, the most successful third party in New York State, and he's from Sierra Leone. He's a legal immigrant who came over here, but Sierra Leone is famous for many things. I'm sure that he actually let's hear from him. But I wish there was more candidate participation today, right? Yeah, from not just presidential candidates, but also down ballot. Once again, every federal candidate in the nation has been emailed about today's event, and will be sent a recording of today's event. So if they choose to, we'll see if they choose to watch it. But hopefully they get involved. Sorry, go ahead, Emmanuel, introduce yourself. And thank you for running. This is so important that people here in the States and everywhere do get involved. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Thank you. So my name is Emmanuel Findley. I was born in Sierra Leone, West Africa. I migrated to the U.S. in 2000. My mother came in earlier. She was a missionary. She was working with the Christian Community Deliverance Church. So she came here. I came over in 2000. I became a U.S. citizen not too long after that. Um, and recently, I got out the army. Now I'm working at the HRA, and I've noticed a lot of things that are happening. And you see these things when you're on the ground floor, when you're in the ground level, and you're interacting with everyday people that's going on. You see a lot of what's happening, and from what I'm seeing firsthand, and also what I'm seeing from the news and everything that's coming out, seems that the American people have been elected, right? And it's like we're being put against each other. we're being pit against each other. It's either Democrat versus Republican versus the. It doesn't matter which party you're from. You're always being put up against each other. And what ends up happening is the American people end up on the losing end of it. And because of that, we can't even help others because we are being hindered ourselves. And we're being told, well, if you don't follow this ideology, then you're wrong, you're evil. That's not what the point is. The point is, we all have to live together. And we have to figure out what is the best way for all of us to live together whilst respecting each other. And it seems like we've gotten to a point where people don't want to do that anymore. When people came into a lot of our leaders and asked them for funding for the schools, funding for the senior centers, the parks, to even just fix the infrastructure within. They told us they didn't have any money. Oh, we don't have enough money to do that. We have to raise taxes. We have to do that. But then further on down the road, we find out that you have enough money to give anybody that claims asylum, just hand them the money. Americans are loving people. Americans are loving people. We are welcoming people. But we also have rules and regulations and we have laws. And as you come in, one of the ways you show us that you want to participate, that you are coming in good faith, is by following the rules and regulations of how to come in. And when you do come in, is by also appreciating the fact that you're led into a country that's not your home. To be grafted. Thing is that that's not being respected. And that's one of the things I think that we need to address because for the for us I say the those that migrated here legally, we come in and we show that hey, we want to work, we want to be a part of it, we want to be Americans, we want to contribute to the American story, we want to contribute to America being a melting pot. It's almost like a slap in the face. Because we have to follow the rules and we abide by the laws. And then when you come in and you see that you have people that are breaking the laws and getting rewarded for it. And then the people themselves that are working hard, like the American citizens that are working hard, that are born here, those that became American citizens through naturalization, you see how they're being treated.
Okay. Hey, when you said you worked for the
And
Army, did you work in the U.S. Army or are you talking about you were in the Army back in Sierra Leone? Where were you in the Army?
The United States Army.
Oh, you're in the United States Army. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. All right, so you're running for office, and today we'll really talk with other perspectives around the world to get the insight.
Mm-hmm.
Having the background from Sierra Leone and the United States is going to be very interesting with your perspective. And once again, if you want to make a change, you got to do what this guy does and run for office. You got to do a little bit more, right? Yeah. That's only power can assure justice. Only power. If you let other people do whatever, then that's what you're going to have to deal with. It is what it is. So once again, respect to your work. I do want to introduce some other people that I'm very excited to have in the program here. Sorry it takes so long for these introductions. Yeah, but
okay. I will mute myself so you guys can continue.
I'm sorry, Manuel. Yeah, okay. Okay, so there's also Alan Bell.
I'm just saying, I'll mute myself while you guys continue.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, let's go on to Alan Bell. He's actually. Can you introduce yourself real quick?
Yes. I'll try to be quick. Originally I was born in Israel. When I was 6. My family moved to Canada. I went back to Israel in my 20s. I did serve in the IDF. I've been living in the United States now for over 30 years, though. And it's very interesting things I've heard so far. But the guy from Haiti and the guy from just now, and it's something we should talk about. There's a lot of misinformation, a lot of trying to pit us against each other, and I hate to quote the movies, but there's always a movie quote I love, and that's from The Hunger Games. And the quote was, "Always remember who the real enemy is." And the enemy is not who you're fighting. The enemy is often the person who's getting the two of you to fight. And I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, that's super true for Moto right there, right? Yeah, why are Kenyans being sent over to regulate Haiti, right? Yeah, so what is this crap? Yeah, it's ridiculous. The big reason why we're here today. Sorry about what y'all going through. Also, Israel and Palestine. Once again, Palestine's been in. After this program, I'm going to have a live streaming show how I've invited Palestinians so many times to be a part of my work. They've never really been a part of it. They've never really. It's time for us to start working together, right? And stop letting outsiders determine who we're allowed to work with and where we're going to go with this. So once again, props to everybody that decided to come here today, despite the gatekeepers that's out there trying to decide who gets to work with whom, right? Screw them. I'm working with people right now, whoever shows up. Also, John Olson, is this the last? There's one more person who seems to have jumped in. I'm not sure who that is. Sometimes we do get weirdos jumping in and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Michelle Nye, I don't know who this is. Quite nervous about this. Don't know Michelle, but I'm going to have John Olson, very great background, and also his credentials are excellent. I think that's the last person. If there's anybody I forgot, let me know. But John, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, that is my name, and at least that's what my parents told me a long time ago. So I believe them. I spent 36 years in Hawaii. I've been an anti-imperialist since the Vietnam War era, and continue in that regard today. And the Hawaiian Liberation Movement is my area of expertise. Probably most of you on the call don't realize that the U.S. claim to the sovereignty of Hawaii is bogus. There's no validity. In fact, I wrote a book and have published it called Liberate Hawaii, Renouncing and Defying the Continuing Fraudulent U.S. Claim to the Sovereignty of Hawaii. It's a mouthful, but just remember Liberate Hawaii. It's available either through me or Amazon if you're interested. There's a burgeoning movement. Tens of thousands of people in Hawaii are aware of this. Outside of Hawaii, hardly anybody, because again, as DJ has been saying, the propaganda, the false consciousness is prevalent. So that's why I wrote the book, to educate people outside of Hawaii, because they're well aware of this. So I'll keep it short, and anybody has questions later, they can talk to me.
Okay. So now it's time for us to, by the way, Michelle, I see that you dropped now, put in the chat who you are. I don't really know Michelle off the top of my head, so if you were invited under another name or something like that, let me know. Now the thing is that now it's time for people to start making proposals for me to bring. So you could say, for instance, right, there has to be some type of, maybe you don't want the Security Council to exist anymore in the United Nations, or, any proposal you make, I'll write it down and start to collect your proposals now. So anybody anywhere can just jump in and start making proposals, and I'll start to write them down. These will be submitted for vote to all the candidates in the nation running for federal office.
Yeah, I'd like to throw something in. This is Zuchi from about the Haiti.
Absolutely.
And quite frankly, this is a no-brainer for the Security Council. This is the reason why they're having this organization named CARICOM, which no one's ever heard of. Literally,
what AFRICOM. Yeah, I know about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, literally what CARICOM does in the Caribbean is like if it's gonna be like a Miss Caribbean pageant, and you need the organization that helps to arrange it, that'd be CARICOM, or something to do with tourism. Has nothing to do with the Haitian Constitution and who should be the Haitian president. Now, the UN knows this. This is why this is not in front of the Security Council, but it appears that eventually it will end up in front of the Security Council, because like I was saying to everyone about Haiti, is that it's not an issue with a person named Barbecue. What's actually happening in Haiti is a popular revolt. And in that popular revolt, literally the entire country has agreed to and has elected in a referendum that was performed a few weeks ago to place a gentleman named Guy Philippe as the president of Haiti. To popular, the whole entire nation wants him placed. The only thing that's keeping him from taking power is the national police force, was just controlled by the international powers. It's a very small group of people that are keeping that from actually occurring. Now, of course, if this even gets to the UN Security Council, they are already aware of this. I'm just saying this here to the room. I'm sure there's probably a number of you who already know this. But for those of you who don't, please, if you're online, you see any comments online, or if you have any organizations, or if you write articles, or if you're involved in anything to get this word out and the message out, it is getting out. And we're seeing, like, in terms of U.S. policy, the U.S. definitely wants to invade Haiti, by way of Kenya. but it's really difficult to invade a country where 100% of the population is in a popular revolt. You know, so now you're going in to fight the population. This is what's really happening with Haiti. You know, it's not about this person named Barbecue. You know, and most people now, a few weeks later, when the smoke has cleared, are probably starting to ask questions. But that's what I would like to suggest is if there's anything that's going to go in front of the Security Council, it should be the truth about what's actually going on in Haiti and the fact that all Haiti actually needs at this time is for the international community to just get out of the way. Haiti has enough assets, enough wealth, enough of everything to build its own. Like there's not a dollar of aid that's ever gone into Haiti that's actually made it to the island. Most of it stays offshore or with NGOs. You know, so what's happening with Haiti now is literally like the
So if I could
Africa
just
model.
what I
Yeah.
wrote down for the proposal, right? That I'm going to submit to them is say, from Lucci, right? I'm gonna get. By the way, everybody who makes a proposal is credited. I said international forces out of Haiti. Would you say that's a good summation, or is there something I'm missing? Anything I should add? Anybody else have something they think should be added, right? Or maybe international forces out of sovereign countries just in general. Maybe we could
Well,
even
I'd tell you
expand
what.
that. Go ahead.
I'd tell you what. Can you repeat that again?
It's okay. What I have right now is international forces out of Haiti, just like international
Okay.
forces out. Period.
That's
Would that be
exactly
good
what it
enough
is.
for you?
No, that's
For a
exactly
proposal?
what it needs to be. And if anyone ever goes to any protests dealing with Palestine, can you please make a sign like that?
I got you.
If you're
bro.
writing an
I'll do it.
article, okay, if you write an article, you're sending out a tweet, that's literally all that needs to be said. What you just said right there needs to be exactly that. All that needs to be said from this point on is exactly what you just said. Matter of fact, that's all
Okay,
I
well,
should have said
that's
this whole
exactly why
time.
we're here too. We're also here to help other people shape it. Maybe
Yes.
someone wants to expand to all sovereign countries. Maybe this is then the definition before.
No, exactly what
talk
you
about
just said.
frameworks. Okay.
No, exactly
Does
what you
anybody
just
have
said.
another
Can I ask a
proposal?
question?
Anything?
No,
This is
no,
your
no.
time.
You
so
know
throw
why?
them out.
You know why? If you don't mind, I'll just close off with this. You know why I said exactly what you just said? Because a lot of people don't understand the importance of what's happening with Haiti. What they're doing right now is like the last stitch effort to take over the island because it has trillions of dollars in resources that they've already contracted out, but it has never been ratified, so we're illegal. They are trying to literally take over the island to take the trillions and trillions, and I'm not just talking like regular resources. I mean like actual gold reserves, actual uranium. So it's very important to have the word Haiti in there, and it's very important to have those exact words because when they see that, they will understand it already because the Supreme Council knows this already. You know, so it's very important just to say that because look at this anomaly. You have Kenya out of Africa invading Haiti. Have you ever heard of that? That just spells invasion in blackface. You know, and the world will see it. So you have to put the word Haiti in it because of the importance. Haiti, like I said, is the only black nation, and it's because of Haiti's the fact that it's the only black nation in this hemisphere that's going through this. Because you cannot have a successful Haiti. So, in closing, do you know Haiti right now, as we speak, in the middle of this crisis, is building the largest infrastructure project in the Caribbean? Not even with the help of the Haitian government, they're doing it by themselves, and they did it in a record time. It took them literally 3 months to build this enormous canal. If you go on Google or search the canal in Wanamet, Haiti, it would blow your mind the size of this infrastructure project, all done by the Haitian people, done in a really short period of time. And can you imagine if we have the boots of the international community off of our necks? This place would just take off, and it'd be incredible.
Well,
so
it's good, right? That
please,
discussion's really
thank
for
you.
that's fine. Thank you for
Thank you so much for
wrapping
the
up.
time.
We really want to just get as many proposals out on the floor as possible and really get them discussed to fund the empire. I like that, John. So I think Emmanuel has his hand up next, then Moto. So we're gonna go hear from Emmanuel. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Oh, well, I wanted to just support the specifics regarding Haiti with a larger question of what the United States policy is. I just posted the amendment to the Constitution regarding peace and the military, which I had written up recently. But I would say in the most general sense that it's critical for the United States to in a way, go back to its original tradition. I mean, not to say the United States is a particularly perfect country, but it was the American Revolution as it was to start with, an anti-imperialist move, right, to oppose the British East India Company and to oppose the British Empire. And there was, for all the flaws of the United States, there was this tradition. And if we can, in the Constitution, I propose an amendment, but there are other ways to articulate it, to say the United States is not an imperialist nation. It should be a republic as it's defined. And it should, any American troops overseas should only be for specified missions with a deadline, an end, and that we should not have imperialist overreach and stationing of troops indefinitely overseas. In Asia, I'm in Japan. Of course, I spent a lot of time in Korea.
People have different right. Usually my panels, just so you know, I usually move it along like this. Sorry about that, but
please.
We're not really here to like discuss why it's right or wrong. I know people will
right.
They want to justify, they want to agree and stuff like that. I'm not really here to do that because that's discussion we had outside of here. We're just here to collect the proposals and help them shape them if someone has a suggestion to try to help make it more solid. But in the end, we're going to let the candidates decide and vote on how they, and we're going to see what they can get unanimous agreement on. This is the unified platform for 24, right? And by the way, we'll also have more in-depth discussions on all the stuff that you guys want to talk about. But today, we're just, so your, the amendment, which I like a lot, right, says the United States will assume the pursuit of peace to be its primary goal in foreign and domestic policy, making a peace economy its highest priority, and that in that process reduces nuclear weapons to zero within 10 years, and demand that all other nations reduce their nuclear weapons to zero as well. Other dangerous weapons such as depleted uranium, mines, and cluster bombs, biological nanoweapons, electromagnetic and infrared weapons. Is there more to this? But overall,
yes, there is.
Yeah.
For some reason,
so
cut off. But
that will be submitted specifically to the once again the bodies that I mentioned, and I appreciate that. Right, we're not here to really say it's good. I like it, but we're not going to spend much more time on it than that, right? Yeah, unless someone wants to make it more specific or they think something is missing, like energy weapons or something like that. But it does say electromagnetic, so I guess they're included. Moto, I think you were next. Did you have a policy that you want to submit? Moto is frozen. Is it just me? Okay. John, did you have a policy that you want to submit for review?
Yeah, something real good. Picking up on what James Roguski was saying, I think we ought to be promoting the slogan, the WHO is medical colonialism, because it's right, it nails it. The idea of we're the boss. We're going to tell you what you need to stay healthy, and we're going to make you take all these vaccines, and you surrender your sovereignty, and a whole string of things that is just awful, and it's deadly stuff. So that's my proposal. Promote the WHO is medical colonialism.
So do you want to stop certain actions of the World Health Organization, or do you want to dissolve the World Health Organization?
Well, dissolving it would be great, but just barring that, every country needs to exit the as quick as they can, or at least defeat this new proposal that James has been all over for 2 years. The amendments and the new treaty. Vote no, just get that out to your representative, because it's this sneaky stuff. They try to use all this pretty language. And it's like worse than putting lipstick on a pig. It's more like putting lipstick on the rear end instead.
I will put a form in the chat, by the way, if anybody who's watching also wants to submit a proposal. This is open to the public. Anyone can submit a proposal to this project. But we're really having a discussion panel today so we can help, right, with the perspectives of other nations present today. They can help you to really, from their perspective, see. And what I felt a lot when a lot of people were talking here, Alan, Lucci, and Madi, right? Yeah, they were all talking about how their own perspective is not really recognized by the people, right? Because the people who are defeated do not have political power. So we all face this cultural shock. We all face this. Our stories are not being talked about or celebrated or recognized. We all face this. So let's start getting together. Moto, I think you were next. I think I can see your audio. I can't see you, but that's okay. Do you have something you want to propose? Okay. Does anybody else have anything they want to propose at this time? Okay,
yeah.
Go ahead, Susan, go ahead.
Yes, I do.
So what I've discovered is back at the turn of the century into the 1900s, we've somehow started becoming this Christian nation, and not only just a Christian nation, but a missionary Christian nation. And at the beginning of the 1900s, we were a neutral country as far as war goes. And then suddenly we got into World War One and then World War Two. And then we got out, and then we suddenly changed our motto and became "In God We Trust," and God was added to the what is it, the Pledge of Allegiance, and God started taking over our country. And since then, we've been missionaries around the world attacking Islam and all sorts of other countries. And this is where the thread is that everybody is missing, because we've got a lot of Christians in our country who are good Christians, but then we've got a lot of evangelicals who are trying to be missionaries and spread Christianity around the world. And so we need to, so one of the founding documents to start the New World in general was the doctrine of discovery, which was what the Pope said back in the Renaissance time. He said, go out and discover and claim it for Jesus. And so that's what a lot of these Christopher Columbus and all these discoverers were doing.
I just want to ask, so are you saying that you want to remove religion from government? Are you saying that you want
I do. So that's the
to
first
be,
thing. I want
remove missionary work from, okay, so I just want to remove
Yeah.
religion from Susan.
remove
Okay.
first.
But if
It's
you want to reword
remove.
that, that's fine too. All right.
It's remove religion from remove "In God We Trust." It should be "In Good We Trust." I want to change that 100% as soon as I'm in. And we got to get God out of our government, because it's clearly states in the First Amendment that we are a godless country. And the reason why it was presented this way in the 50s was to make us different from the communists. But the communists have religion. They have a godless country. And we are actually also, our constitution is almost the same as the Russian
I
constitution.
understand that people have different
And
thoughts
so-
on that. We're not really here to justify any
So
of these proposals.
yes,
We're
this
here to just lay them out.
goes
If you-
this
okay, if you really
goes
feel like
one
I'm- okay,
this goes one step further.
Okay.
So we need to stop the missionary work, and it's not only us, it's also the UN, and that's where this comes in. So the US and the UN has been working together to promote religion of Christianity. So we need to remove it from the United States, and we also need to remove it from the UN. And the UN in general, you know, I've been watching it ever since I was born. I'm 58 years old now. And, you know, they've because they don't have muscle behind their words, they cannot enforce what they're doing. We have a little bit, you know, we have NATO and we have a few other organizations in the Security Council, but it's not really working.
Okay. So
And
would you
it's
say that
just
would be
getting
rephrased as stop government-sponsored missionary work? Would you say that would be an appropriate rephrasing of your?
yes,
Okay. So
100% stop
right.
US
okay.
and stop UN from doing missionary
US,
work
yeah.
for Christianity.
Okay.
And then we also need to, I think the UN should be more a fact-finding group. The world is too big. We cannot use the United Nations the way it is. It's just, it's trying to do too much and it's not working. So we need individual regional groups that would organize, say, North America, say, South America, say, Africa, and really divide up a little bit the obligations. We also need to respect sovereignty of each nation. And this is where the problem lies. So we need to be there in case of emergency, but we need to allow diversity. There's more than one way to live life. And everybody has a right to their culture and their religion. And so we cannot go and enforce the Western way on everything.
Okay, so wait
Sorry.
a minute. Okay, yeah, we're going a little bit. I just want to make sure I get it and then just move on, right? Yeah, I can't. But I said UN should be a fact-finding group. Then the last thing was you said that the UN should promote peace. I guess that's the last thing you were saying. UN should promote peace.
No, I think what we probably should do is come up with a new agreement, or recommit to. Maybe we should recommit to the agreement of the UN that we all signed on to, because I think we've all forgotten what's in it.
Recommit to
So-
UN original principles. Okay, I could get down with that. Yeah, they said.
Yeah.
Okay, principles. Okay,
because
I like
we're
that.
not respecting sovereignty of nations, and this is where
That's
the
true.
biggest problem is.
Respect sovereignty of
But we
nations.
also want to help nations become more of themselves.
Okay.
So we
Oh my
don't
God.
want to, you
Okay.
know, development can
Oh,
sometimes be messy.
Okay, we're gonna go on to I love your ideas, but we want to give everybody a chance to make. You made like 4 or 5, 6 right proposals. I'm not mad at that. We want to give everybody a chance though, so we're gonna come back to you definitely, right? But I want to give everybody a chance. Moto, I think, has been trouble with his mic. Then we're gonna go to Mati and Moguski. Moto, does your mic work? Go ahead. Moto can't hear you. Okay, Mati, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Nuclear issue. What we hear for the years in the media, and we apparently never found the solution out of the big titles. But let me tell you about something that you have probably have ever heard about that. At the time of reformist president in Iran in 1998, Mr. Khatami, there was the first negotiations with the West and with US, and Iran signed non-proliferation nuclear treaty. And at that time, Mr. Guldiman, who was the Switzerland ambassador in Iran, has actually advanced the negotiations. So Iran had accepted to have only 300 centrifuges and lots of other things to be in peace with the board. And let me tell you that President Khatami had the slogan, the dialogue among civilizations. What happened from the West part, Mr. Bush has considered what I'm telling you is written in the book of Serge Michel, who is at the head of Heidi News in Switzerland and was journalist at that time in Iran. And I was public relations also at that time in some governmental, actually, reformist organization there. The negotiations was done, and Iran had accepted to stop in 300 centrifuges and so on. Mr. Bush has considered that Mr. Guldiman, the Swiss ambassador, had gone too far in his negotiations and didn't accept that. Later, Iranian people, I mean, something else also which is very significant is that when there had been 11 September in the US, the first country's president all over the world was Mr. Khatami, Iranian reformist president, who presented condolence to American nation because of that terrorist attack and the victims
I'm
happened.
so sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just losing a little bit of track here. I think before you were talking about nuclear proliferation, then you started talking about centrifuges, which have to do with like nuclear stuff. Then you started talking about attacks. Are these nuclear attacks? Are these physical attacks? It sounds like these are actually separate from the nuclear issue. Is this the same thing? What's going? What attacks?
I'm talking. Actually, I wanted to give you two or three examples to say that the
Okay, so
messages the West had sent to Iran, to Iranian people, was false permanently, continuously. So what happened? People voted for Ahmadinejad, who was a kind of a stupid, I will say that in English, a falcon, and wanted to erase Israel from the map. You have heard all about that. And at that time, Mr. Bush has sent a letter to Mr. Ahmadinejad to have a dialogue for people. Oh, it's bizarre. A conflictual president had gained more in a dialogue step, apparently. Afterward, some years later, lots of problems happen, embargoes, and so on and so on. People voted for Mr. Rouhani, who was a pragmatic conservative, a bit kind of reformist president too. And the nuclear negotiations went on
So I'm
with
sorry.
Mr. Obama.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just have one. Okay, so it sounds like Iran was actually lied to and deceived, right? Yeah. But if that's true, then that would cause a proliferation of weapons. Because if someone's going to lie to me, I want to have guns to defend myself. I want to have nukes to defend myself. I find it, right? Yeah. So I'm not saying myself, like just looking from a Korean standpoint of view. I'm really trying to find out exactly what you're going here. Because if you're saying we can't trust you, maybe that's why. So are you saying that there should be some type of punishments, or be some type of outside body assuring that lies are not told during treaties or negotiations somehow? But that's supposed to be the UN Security Council, but they're acting very
no
selfishly.
evidence. There had
Yeah.
been no evidence that Iran lied about that. And International Agency of Nuclear Non-Proliferation Agency had always approved that there had been no lie around
So
that.
what's the proposal? What's the proposal?
So
What do you want?
the
Okay.
proposal, I'm going to say that, I mean, finally, after actually the treaty was signed between Mr. Rouhani and Mr. Obama, then Trump came to the power and teared that up. So what happened? Factually, Iran was pushed in the arms of China and Russia. All oil, gas, and all those mines and everything was now being ravaged. If we can say that in English, I would say in French word, by China and Russia for free of charge, kind of, for free, for very, very cheap, because Iran is under embargo, because it justifies so on and so on. So then I want to say that when America had been assuming its leadership in the international scene, it should send messages which are actually addressing to people, and they can have right reaction and not be counterproductive. That's what I'm telling. I think Susan is absolutely right. Probably, I'm not sure. I mean, but probably one of the reasons for those reactions which are not adapted in a pragmatic and reasonable way with Iranian nuclear technology was because of eventually these evangelist groups and so on. I don't know.
Okay, so just
Maybe
trying to bring it all
maybe that's
together,
it.
what it sounds to me, it sounds like what you're saying is to prioritize human lives over maybe commercial interests, because you're using this, right, the broad nuclear thing, right, the good of the people in this instance. So you want to prioritize human lives over industry or military objectives. Is that what you're saying?
Of course,
Okay, all
and
right. So
actually,
I want to move. I'll give you one chance to clear that, but then we're going to move to James Guski because we've been waiting for a long time. I
Sanctions
want to give other
don't
people a
work.
chance. Yeah. Okay.
That's
the step. Okay. So prioritize human lives over military interests, and then I'm going to write. Susan says sanctions don't work. Okay. Susan, B.
yeah, they hurt
And
the little
sanctions,
guy.
and sanctions. I agree too, but yeah. Okay. I agree too. Okay. I like.
so I mean,
Okay. So any
concretely,
last thing?
what
Go ahead.
happened as a result is that 300 centrifuge transformed to 3,000 centrifuge, and today 6,000 centrifuge. And Iran is at the time of zero with bomb. I don't know. There's no evidence about that either, but it is totally now
Counterproductive.
kind of
Right.
achieved, and it
Yes.
was not productive to have this way of reactions.
Oh yeah, now
So
they have more. Exactly, they're gonna get more. Without trust, you're gonna have more weaponization. 100%. Yeah, I agree.
mhm.
James, go ahead, brother. Sorry to make you wait.
It's all good. It's all good. I put in the chat. I trust you see it. War. We're seeing classic hot wars with armies and bombs and things like that. But modern warfare is in the mind. And so my proposed statement is the pharmaceutical hospital emergency industrial complex has effectively begun a war against the people of the world using gene-altering treatments that are masquerading as vaccines. We demand that the proposed amendments to the international health regulations and the proposed pandemic treaty be rejected, and nations around the world begin the process of abolishing the World Health Organization.
Someone had an ill thing before about like know who your real enemy is, right? Yeah, yeah. I forgot who said that, but that was powerful words right there. Yeah, that's a lot of truth. Marty still has his hand raised, so we're gonna go back to Marty. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, I think we people need to decide about what's going on, and hopefully, I would say, because of the thanks to the social medias today, mainstream medias have no more the dictatorship of shaping the public opinion alone. And today, common people like us have our word to say and to share. So I think at the end of the day, as I'm a hopeful guy, I think there is a hope that in the future, this public opinion could push some corrupted politicians or stupid politicians to do better, more pragmatic and useful decisions.
Appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm gonna go to I believe that Lucci is up next.
Thank you. Yeah, so I just wanted to just take a minute, just to, I guess, just dive a little bit deeper into the issue, if you don't mind. So,
Yeah, go
like,
ahead.
I could kind of give everyone a 360 view of everything, because earlier it was a lot to unpack, but the general sense of what I'm trying to get at is Haiti is probably one of the most important issues that has ever occurred, like in the history of this country. This is how important this is. Like it's to the point where Haiti will get invaded just to keep it from gaining its actual true independence. Because again, what's really happening in Haiti now is a popular revolt. They have already had a referendum and they have an actual person to take the presidency. And we have, outside forces literally putting together a scheme which is 100,000% against every UN chartered areas, 100,000% against the Haitian constitution, and no one's talking about it. The only thing people are talking about is this person named Barbecue, who's a cannibal and he's eating people. So it's really important, that everyone in the room to really dig into it. Again, it's I could dive into the whole story with Barbecue. Like, his actual name is Jerry Sherry Zay. The way he got the name was his mother had a barbecue shop in the area where they lived. So he used to deliver the barbecue chicken. So they called him Barbecue. So that's where his name came from. And Haiti always give a lot of people nicknames, kind of like remember this old dictator in Haiti? His name was Papa Doc. The reason why his name was Papa Doc is because he was a doctor in the village where he lived in, and they called him Papa Doc. That's how I'm bringing him up or down. I'm just saying, more famous names that you've heard. It's just how it is in Haiti. A lot of people get nicknames. Um, but in any event, what's actually happening there, like I was saying, it's a popular revolt, and it wouldn't be an issue if Haiti wasn't sitting on top of so many resources. And due to the fact that Haiti is sitting on top of so much petroleum, so much gold, so much actual gold. I mean, gold bricks that
Actually, I
have
did
all.
want to. This is actually very interesting right here, and this really want to work out with you and this group as a whole, right? How do we work out this kind of resource grabbing, this kind of economic kind of like taking advantage of other countries, and doing the environmental fashion too? How can we develop policy? You could just say no predatory trading, or maybe we could say like all trading has to be approved by the general United Nations, not just the Security Council, right? If overall vote from the whole United Nations could nullify certain treaties or trade agreements, right? We see NATO military
International.
powers doing all kinds of shenanigans. Exactly, that's why we're here to devise a solution for exactly that problem. This
Correct.
thing.
We
Unratified
have to
trade
respect
agreements would
order.
make a lot of sense, because a lot
Some
of times when the Congress or the legislative body of that country, what's speaking about Haiti in this particular case, because in Haiti, the last time a legislative body has been in office was since before the assassination, which started this whole thing.
So
Because the
how do
president,
we make the proposal, right? You could say no predatory trading, but people do want to be able to trade with each other. How do we
well, that's
make
what I
this in a
mean.
way that's
That's
protects
what I
both sides?
That's what I mean. Any trade agreements that are not ratified by the Congress of that country should be null and void. Because again, the whole issue here is that Haiti right now doesn't have a legislative body, because ever since the assassination of a really good president, by the way, he was doing a lot of good work. Ever since he was assassinated, they never had another election, so everyone's term ended. So in Haiti, in the Constitution, let's say, for instance, you want to sell off 80% of the uranium, you can't do that unless it's ratified,
Okay,
right?
we're gonna
But
okay, I do know my man Moto's been waiting a long time. Hopefully his
yeah,
mic's working, yeah? Moto, do you have something to say? Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay. Also, the Lily from Colombia. I'd love to hear your. Do you have any particular suggestions on this particular topic, or maybe you have your own?
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do. But first of all, I would like to ask for forgiveness to the person from Haiti, because although it's not my fault, I know part of our Colombian former armies, they killed your president. We know that according to the AP news website, this former Colombian soldier pleads guilty in 2021 because of the assassination of the president of Haiti. So I'm so sorry for that, and I imagine that that's a lot of things that involved there. But I also brought one of these proposals, which is regarding the international law for punishment. Like, there are many things happening because there is not a law that oversees that these criminals are being punished. So some of them, although they get punished, I mean, they get caught, they don't say who gave them the order. They can say, oh, I'm so sorry, I did it, but they don't say, I did it because somebody told me to. And that's very important. So if you allow me to, I could read the letter that I sent to the presidential candidates and world leaders.
Yeah, I want to know.
Thank you. I'm writing to you today with a sense of urgency and conviction regarding a matter of great importance: the promotion of military good practices internationally, particularly in the context of Colombia, to uphold human rights, ensure justice, and foster world peace. I want to underscore the significance of emphasizing an international law that can oversee impunity, not only for Colombia, but also for all the countries, Haiti and Latin American countries. Many Colombians abroad would appreciate it if the US candidates and world leaders were to advocate for highlight the importance of such a law. Such an initiative would serve as a beacon of hope for those who seek justice and accountability, not just in Colombia, but throughout the whole world. International law, including the Geneva Conventions, international criminal law, and principles of common responsibility, provides a clear framework for addressing military impunity and holding perpetrators accountable for their actions. By upholding these legal principles and ensuring compliance with international obligations, we can send a strong message that impunity will not be tolerated and that those responsible for human rights violations will be held to account. In this deeply troubling, for example, that the military impunity persists in Colombia, some junior and mid-level officers involved in paramilitary violence evade accountability by seeking forgiveness from the GEP, which is the special jurisdiction for peace. That's an organization in Colombia, while withholding crucial information. So these individuals exploit the benefits of the GEP without transparency in their intentions, so merely just to avoid imprisonment. Additionally, some of them have been promoted and rewarded, attaining top positions within the Colombian army, despite their alleged involvement in crimes against humanity. So this blatant disregard for justice not only undermines the rule of law, but also perpetuates a culture of impunity that poses a great threat to society's foundation. Moreover, the corruption within the police, the government, Congress, and illegal armed groups exacerbates the situation, leading to further human rights violations and undermining efforts to promote accountability and justice. In light of these challenges, I wish to draw your attention to Gustavo Petro and Vice President Francia Marquez endeavors for building peace worldwide, and their courageous stance against military impunity and corruption. They have demonstrated unwavering commitment to justice and peace. Despite facing significant opposition and threats to their leadership, they remain steadfast in their efforts to promote accountability and build a more just and peaceful Colombia. It would be unjust that they have to face these challenges alone. I urge you to offer your support to Colombia in their efforts for building a more just and peaceful world. Moreover, promoting military good practices internationally is not just a matter of legal obligation, but also a crucial step towards fostering world peace and stability. By prioritizing human rights and justice in our foreign policy agendas, we can contribute to building a more just and peaceful world for future generations. I urge you, as US presidential candidates and world leaders, to make a commitment to prioritize human rights and justice in your policies and actions. Take a stand against military impunity in Colombia and advocate for the promotion of good practices within the military institutions worldwide. Thank you for your attention to this crucial issue. And that's my letter to them.
That was an amazingly powerful letter. If you could send that to me, I'll definitely make sure the U.S. ambassador gets it, and also people on the nations. Now, one thing we have about, I think this was scheduled to go from 7 to 9. So for the last 20 minutes, I want to go over the audience questions, and there's some stuff that went in the chat, some proposals that went up. So I want to get to those things. If there's people watching, we're going to find out. But in this next 20 minutes, I want to spend some time. We're going to go to some other things, but talk about how maybe we can ask these people for help. These electeds, a lot of times they're not helping us. A lot of times they're part of the problem. Sometimes I want to find how we can work together today. Once again, we have first Korean American elected officials in New York State history. Ron, Kim, Grace Lee, Linda Lee. I'm going to pressure them to work on the Haitian issue. I'm going to pressure them to work on the Colombian issue. Hopefully Colombian, I think, who is it? Jessica Ramos? Is she Colombian? She's from, I think she's the labor leader for the New York State Senate. So we can form new powerful coalitions to get these issues addressed. So
thank you so much. I appreciate it because it's very important. Like the way they did to the Haiti president, we don't want it to happen to our president either or to our vice president.
That was an amazing, powerful testimony. You're actually implicating the Colombian president for killing a Haitian president. You can't be doing that. This is clearly a violation of international law. So
yeah, and
the bravery it took for you to come out and do that.
That impunity is for these ex-presidents, Uribe and Duque. That's something that our good president right now, Gustavo Petro, has to face, and it's just too much. So we are asking for international help, and we hope none of these things happen anymore. We ask for no repetition. We need our youth to be aware of the new story. We need to have good practices worldwide, and that's what we are counting on. And thank you so much for understanding that and your cooperation.
I don't know if you've heard of Jessica Ramos, but she's very powerful New York State senator, and we'll try to get this team up going here for real. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to Susan. Feel free to talk about whatever you want, right? But just this guideline, just to ease us towards the end. Go ahead, Susan.
Okay. Well, listening to all of this, I realized, naturally, I don't mean to point fingers, but most of the leaders of all the world countries are men. And men seem to have a problem when they get a little power. They get greedy. And this is a huge problem. So we need to elect more women into powerful positions because women tend to focus on nurturing the people and the countries around them. So I would like maybe the UN could move to a more nurturing way of being if they want to dream of continuing, because right now all we're seeing is greed and power struggles, and this is not good, and that's where the problem is. I mean, I like men. I have no problem with any of you guys, and but what is the deal with that? Why, when you get a little power, do you want more? And why can't we move to a dad approach to things and be a nurturer? All men have dads in them,
Okay.
Where are the dads?
All right.
Our president now is a good one. Gustavo Petro is a good one, and he works very well with Francia, which is the first leader, which is Black Colombian, and they are doing a very good job. It's just like when you have people like that, the enemies just show and they want to shut them down. So we don't want that to happen. We want some international help. Thank you.
Lucci?
Yes.
To your point, Susan, you're 100% right because in terms of what you said about the UN, even not even look at Haiti, but if you look at what's happening in Africa right now, like UN stays in business because of Africa, and all these African nations from Mali to Burkina Faso to all these Niger, those are the top three we've been speaking about. But just the other day, Senegal, they just literally try to get the main candidate off the ballot, and then someone who worked in this campaign came up and actually in 10 days won the election. And so they just announced now that they want the French out. So you're having this whole thing in Africa where, if they're pushing out the French in the US, that means they're also pushing out the UN. So their influence is definitely going to shrink unless they start changing their policy to a more nurturing, like what you said, because what's occurring now is the new UN in Africa is Russia. And Russia's going in there and they're developing fast. I mean, they developed a gold processing plant for Burkina Faso in like 4 months. They're developing roads, they're developing things in record time, and they're doing it in such a way to where it's a fair type of trade. So and then Russia's opening up now their immigration to any African who wants to move to Russia. You just apply and move to Russia, and also I'll add on to what you're saying because it has a lot to do with what I believe the UN has fell short on, and that's why Russia is really taking this role. And in part, some of you have heard of this, and I'll say in part, this is because psychological warfare could be lies, but psychological warfare can also be exposing truth. you know and I think we just got hit with the largest piece of psychological warfare exposing truth with the Russian icons. So those of you who've heard of the Russian icons know what I'm talking about. And that's got Africa really, really, praising Russia for actually exposing history in that matter, because a lot of history as we know it isn't the actual history. So what occurred was Russia opened their vaults and they pulled out, like, I'm talking like history going way back in actual old text, old icons, everything is showing what it was before we got to the 16th century, the Shakespearean era, where a lot of it was changed. So, and a lot of it had to do with the role that Africa played in a lot more in world events and everything than has been previously exposed to the world. So a lot of people here hasn't heard of this because I don't think it was meant for here. So it's here. Some people know, some people don't. But in Africa, I mean, Russia really went out and actually showed the actual history of Africa, the actual tribes, who they were, where they originated from, actual paintings, images. Like they really went deep, and so that kind of opened up Africa even more to Russia. Back to your point again, Susan, the nurturing. And I think the UN over its course in time in Africa missed out on a huge opportunity, an enormous opportunity to actually do what Susan just said, which is nurture. I don't know if there's even any going back, because Susan, I'm sure you've been paying close attention to this. You've been nodding a lot. But that is true. There has to be done something done. Maybe, like you said, bring in like more women, right? But that's the
Absolutely.
shortfall overall, though. That is the shortfall that is going on now. They fell in that matter, and I don't even know if there's any going back now. At least not for Africa.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that Africa is starting to really stand up for itself and to discover its own roots and bring them out again, because this is so important. I mean, throughout the history of the world, we've always been conquered by one organization or another, or one country over another, but we're finally at a point where we're all in communication with each other, and we can really easily respect boundaries and let each nation become its own self. And I think this is, all the nations are screaming out for that. And we have the space and we have the possibility of doing that. So I really highly recommend that we move to this nurturing atmosphere and just let countries grow. There will need to be a way for the people who might end up with a dictator that's not doing well. Those people still need to be able to reach out and ask for help when needed, but it shouldn't also just all fall on the shoulders of the United States to come and police the world either. So that's one of my things too, is to stop the policing of the world by the United States, to take a step back and become a more neutral country like we once were.
You know what?
But yeah.
I appreciate what you're saying. I do also work with just the disabilities faction. I do know that they're often they're a group that could really use some more nurturing. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just do not see a preponderant. By the way, I've been treated very well by yourself, and I really appreciate it. So, who am I to talk, right? But the thing is that in the disabilities framework, right, if women are more nurturing, we should see more of them around that community and helping out. So, I could see more. Right, I can't say that industry to me is overwhelmingly right. Yeah, maybe in like the care, like being paid, but in terms of like volunteering, I'd say the numbers to me look like me and Mark is out there pretty much. We have had some help from women, and shout out to Diane Pagan for helping us make some connections with our recent thing. But it's not overwhelmingly women to me, in disabilities advocacy. So I just want to provide that perspective. Also, women can also tend to go with the winners and kind of, not admit the existence of the losers and kind of be, it might be different for some guys than other guys. You get what I mean? We may have a different experience, so especially guys that are rejected. Jim Morrison said, women seem wicked when you're unwanted, right? So to some guys, they seem nurturing, but to some guys, they do not. You know what I mean? So.
Well, when I look around the world and I see how many women are in leadership positions and how many men are,
well, I appreciate you stepping forward, and you are a leader.
I think we could use a little bit more women, a little bit more feminism, or femininity needs to come out. Nurturing.
I can appreciate that, right? It shouldn't be all guys, and women do have a lot to offer and unique perspective, and are often get the short end of the stick. So we should also take care of them too. So I'm not against that.
Yeah, well, we don't have to always be at war with each other. There's something called love. There's something called caring. Something called nurturing.
So but I'm so sorry that I really want to hear from Kenya because what's going on, right? How they're being used, by other countries. It's disgusting. I feel like Korea's also being used. Is there anybody else that want to chip in anything before I go to maybe check the chats and see if there's if the audience has anything to say?
I wanted to add something.
Go ahead, please. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we are talking about the UN, and actually, it reminds me a very interesting discussion one of our wonderful teacher had in Geneva University was emphasizing that don't keep on talking about international laws. We don't have international laws. We have international rights because there is no guarantee that they get respected in today's international order.
That's why the proposal.
Yeah, so actually, what happened is that there had been two suggestions for peace by the philosophers and scientists in the international relations. One of them was perpetual peace with commercial treaties between countries having economical links that reduce the danger, the risk of war. But then when we put embargo on a country in a point that no more goods pass through the border, then we say international law, the border where no goods pass, soldiers pass through. So the having somehow giving oneself the power to put the embargo in a way that the country is pushed to the violence and war is not the solution either. The other suggestion by the scientists and actually philosopher was the balance of power. But then there are competitions of weaponizing. Each time we have 2 blocks, 3 blocks all over the world, and there is a weaponizing competition. More and more weapons, more and more weapons. People are dying because of hunger, and they're spending billions of dollars to produce and to buy and to equip with weapons and so on and so on. It is not the solution either. So what I have a dream actually about that, and the dream is that one day we will have a global a global state who is democratically elected and who is under pressure of public opinion all over the world and not only in one country through social medias, and that global state could make respected international who that we become international laws at that time. But today's catastrophic situation all over the world, all those wars here and there, when we really go close and see what's going on, the victims are common people, women, children, and who is benefiting all of that? It is the main question in conflict resolution, in peace building that I studied. Johan Galtung emphasizing always on that was that whose interest is in that war. We just need to put the question and ask it repeatedly: who is selling weapons? Who is getting richer and richer? Who is putting the hands on the richnesses all over the world through those wars? And who are the real victims? And so I think if we don't come to I would say in that way, luckily, hopefully, common public opinion all over the world is waking up, and little by little, people are asking to get respected as just real people, but humanity who are there, who want peace. Different communities want peace. We see in Switzerland different communities, different languages, different religions. They're in peace. They don't look for conflicts. If they are not
Okay.
some politicians who abuse identity and so on. Yeah.
I do have a quick question for you. Now the thing is that I know this is going to be actually quite controversial.
Mhm.
Sorry to say this, but I know a lot of people are for deproliferation and for getting rid of all the nuclear weapons. But I feel
Mhm.
like no one can trust each other. I feel like, if someone says they got rid of the nuclear weapons, no one's going to believe that. And I don't see any. I would actually maybe even say, like, no country has the right to tell other countries that they can't develop nuclear weapons. I know it's very dangerous. But I don't
Mhm.
think that any country has a right to stop those kinds of things. They could even but nuclear technology could even be used to build power plants. It's just power generation, and now you have energy weapons and other things like that. There's radiation weapons, biological weapons. You can't,
Mhm.
right? Just because people say nuclear, biological weapons could be just as deadly. So there needs to be some kind of make sense. We can't stop people from developing, but we also got to be having more communications. We could also outlaw some things, right? Yeah, I think people shouldn't be hurting each other, killing each other. So I also agree with what Lillian was saying too, right? People can't just go around whacking around other heads of the state. We have to honor people's sovereignty. So how can we get together? Well, how do you feel about the proliferation? Do you feel like each country has the right to develop their own weapons as they see fit to protect
Yeah,
themselves?
it's a very big question actually, and it is not really answered. I mean, even in the most peaceful countries where nuclear technology is used only for energy, there is a question of deserts. I mean, the question of how we say that the extra materials were very radioactive and very dangerous for humanity. And every somehow we have news that they are in some island somewhere in Africa, in South America. They are underground and so on,
Yeah.
like that. They are not
Uranium could be
human over
introduced into
there.
like the food supply. There's a lot of other ways that these things could
Yeah.
be used. But just an interesting thought about that. By the way, I do think that my co-host Lisa joined the chat. I do want to give her a chance to introduce herself. I put just before have her introduce herself, though, I dropped in the link in the chat in this call and also online on the chat. I dropped the link to a form that you guys, anybody once again can put in anything on there, and I will submit it to all the candidates of the nation to look at. I can't say they will. Okay, since the 22 election cycle, the amount of participation in this project has dropped significantly as party leadership has discouraged their candidates from participating in this program because they want to keep a lock on the control. They don't want to see independents. Once again, shout out to Green Party Alaska doing their thing, right? Shout out to Green Revolutions and a lot of other the libertarian rebel sphere that I'm working with that's resisting the unfortunate corruption that's going on in that space. But the form, once again, right, I'm not here to get in the way, right? There may be even people diametrically opposed things. I will put that up for the candidates to vote on, and everything that gets unanimous support will be the most easiest ones to pass. So I would say, right, like stop predatory, relationships with other countries And think about it too, right? In a way that's actually like enforceable, right? Don't just have some kind of like out there plan that's just not really. You need power. Without power, there is no justice, right? So you got to have some power. You cannot be hoping for someone else to make things right. You cannot. As someone who takes care of the poor and the powerless, we're always screwed over. I would never trust that, ever, ever, ever. Yeah, that's just me though. So the chat is, by the way, open. I did have a question from 12 Veils. She said, is someone on the panel from Haiti? Yes, that would be actually Lucci's representing Haiti. Also ran for city council, by the way, I believe. So once again, it's up to y'all. Shout out to Finley, by the way, right? Yeah, if you guys do not step up into your roles, okay? Blah, blah, blah. You can have your dream, okay? We can help you somewhat, but in the end, without power, there is no justice. So I don't have the same pride or positions as you. Do not trust me. I'm not your savior, okay? And by the way, I'm inviting anybody, once again, on this panel. You could go have your own Unified Platform 24 discussion panel. I'll throw the entire weight of my mailing list behind your event to try to get them to attend. By the way, shout out to President Ryan Radio and Jay Renee. I think she's got the next one scheduled for April 7th on criminal justice reform. And I think that should be an exciting talk. So, Lisa, why don't you introduce yourself? I'm so sorry to keep you waiting. Well, Lisa, are you here?
I am. I didn't expect to give a presentation, but
just introduce yourself. That's all. Yeah. And what's great to hear today?
I'm Lisa. I don't think. I am involved with a lot of different political events here. I'm based out of Los Angeles. My mother was born in the Dominican Republic, so the events and things that happen in the Caribbean are particularly important to me. I think that unfortunately, successive governments, it depends, in the Dominican Republic have been kind of co-opted by what's happening in the U.S. And they do a lot of the U.S.'s bidding. There's a lot of strange animosity between Haiti and the Dominican Republic, which there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be. But I believe that these are these kind of things are sort of egged on by particular mindsets, you know, from places that are not necessarily internal. So, but I can say that it's been a long time since I've been back in the Dominican Republic, but I could say that a lot of the people there, at least the people that I spoke to, had a lot of respect for Cuba, and that was because they felt that, you know, that was the one place that was standing up to the monolith of the U.S. Because for the most part, a lot of places just feel like that, you know, they feel very, you know, it's very visceral, like the kind of boot on their necks from the U.S. dominance and being so close to each other. So.
Okay. She's been my co-host for about 3 years now. Once again, New York. I'm from New York. She's from LA, the first and the second largest cities in the United States. We have control in those markets, and we can actually get your messages once again listened to. So if you're international, I work mostly on domestic stuff. And once again, James Raguski is at the top of the flyer as being the man with the international experience. And thanks again to Susan Bushla-Chaki for making today's event possible with a generous donation. Thank you for your donations. All right, my work is highly blackballed, and thanks. Yeah, it is what it is, though. I'm surviving to another day. I'm still here. Yeah, so I'm going to address some of the things in the chat right here. I did address, by the way, Wildebeest Commander. I'm not sure who they were. They actually had a link into this program. You could jump in if I know who you are. I don't know who Wildebeest Commander is. I'm just not going to let in randoms, okay? Oh, Paul, it seems like he's back. Paul, maybe we could hear from you this time. I don't know. I pray that you're
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Can you? Yeah. You guys are being used and abused. Please let us know how we can help. Yeah.
Yeah. So a brief history. I've worked with the media house for the past 5 years, and I've learned how the political system works in Kenya. And this just shows how vulnerable the Kenyan politics is, because it's toxic. I would say it's a toxic relationship between the Kenyan people and the Kenyan politicians, because the Kenyan politicians, they're drive is just to, make money and build a sustainable future for themselves and their families. And the reason why I'm speaking like this is because I was also born in a political family. My father was the longest serving mayor in Kenya. And this got me in a position where I saw a lot on how politics runs. Even though I never got a close relationship with him, I grew up with a single mother. I really saw a lot of how politics works. And when I started traveling across the world, going across East Africa, Asia, Europe, and now Americas, the issue to do with Haiti came up. I was the only young person. In Kenya, young people, we just send ourselves. There's nobody to support us. You just do what you can do, the best of your young people. I have a company called Live Mashariki. This is it. Live Mashariki Africa. It's a media company where we're just, young people who decided to come up together and, do the best we can. And everything that we have been doing, it's just on our own cost. The government, even though they listen, they support, but, they can just take you a little, not even far enough, but they just, oh yeah, we know you, but that's that. And when I came to the United Nations, I represented the young people, but after even speaking on the platform, nothing much happened. And the issue to do with Haiti came up, and this is just it shows how much how much as a young person in Africa, how much vulnerable we are, how much people misuse. And just, we are young. Like, for example, our presidents or past presidents, they became president because they said they're young people and they were in their 40s and 50s. And, this analogy of who a young person is, I get it. You're young as much as you're young in the heart, yes. But, a lot of these young people, they don't know where to start. They don't know who to look up to. Our heroes have been, killed. Our heroes have been destroyed. So young people are like, what? I just have to live my own life and get my own money and get my own life right, and I'm done. And a lot of poor people, a lot of needy people are really suffering because they don't have a voice. And even though they have a voice, their voice just reaches far enough. And that's why when I came to the United Nations, I met with a lot of young people who feel the same all over the world, including the islands and including Haiti too. Even though this issue to do with Haiti is really difficult because people don't even understand. Apparently, Kenyans even don't want to go to Haiti. The court said, we don't want, why are you going to Haiti? But the government eventually continued with the process because already they have signed a deal and they've been given money, and everything is working out for Kenya now, and we can't lose that because a lot of Kenyans are seeing progress is happening. But I also want to bring this out. Even though the wicked people or the evil people are producing all these plans, it's also necessary for the good people and the people who believe in what is right to stand up and to use that opportunity to take us to the next level. And that's why I, as a young people, even though this is a very difficult question on Haiti, even though it's very difficult, I still feel that we need to believe in the good. We need to believe in peace. We need to believe in love, because peace is love. Peace is, getting together and finding solutions, just as you're doing. And this is, this is an amazing platform where I believe, even though I was trying to speak out, there was just a force that was trying to block our voices. And this is just a representation on a greater, much bigger force that is stopping the young people on the future to speak out for itself. The future seems dark. The future seems, technological. The future seems like it's just oblivious. But I still believe that as much as we have few people who believe in good, as much as we have people who believe in peace, as much as we have people who believe in love, we can do it. We can make it. Even though one of us die, even though two of us die, I believe that in those, in the death, in the lives and the works of those people who have done that, it inspires a new generation. Like Bob Marley, he sang about love, and now is when he's being appreciated. Sankara, he was preaching about Nkrumah was preaching about Pan-Africanism. Now is when people are actually seeing, and the people who are doing this are the young people, the children, the future of Africa and the world. And we don't need to keep silent. We need to start acting and act seriously. And that's why I even created a website just to share my ideas. And I have done everything I can in my small power just to show that we can do it. I am trying to build hope because I believe, even though it's not me, I believe my brothers, my sisters, one day, one time, we're going to live in a peaceful world if only the few people who believe in what is right stand up and do what is right regardless.
I like
And,
that.
you know,
One thing
yeah.
that I really want to do too is we see sometimes like people might want to go out and find some products that are made in Namibia to support Namibia, and I understand that, but sometimes those companies may have entrenchment or corrupt ties to the local politicians, maybe, but they could find your company directly. And I believe that you're a beatboxer. I saw some of your stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool, man. You didn't have a lot of equipment. You decided to be ingenuity. You made your own beats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with your mouth. Anybody
Mhm.
could book you to do a service, right? Yeah, online. We could work directly with other Namibians. You don't got to work through other, right? So maybe you could buy, and I'm not against buying Namibian products. Do that, go ahead. But start to make direct contact with people that you know, the people that's working with you, other friends, right? Maybe Moto, right? Yeah, no one's perfect, but you're going to get to know him, get to know other people indirectly. We can establish trade between ourselves. We don't got to rely on someone saying, oh, we're going to put a sanction or we're going to do these kinds of globalists, make these kinds of plans. We're going to trade. We're going to exploit these people. Guess what? You can buy things from Haiti directly. I believe that Ajoma, your friend, was on. We talked about what a particular company. I forgot the name of it. We can buy your services once again as an entertainer. You could beatbox for someone. You can make a jingle for someone online.
And just to add on
Colombia
that,
too. We can
just
help other people do work right now. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, just to add on that, I have a very crazy proposal. I believe Haiti is really struggling with also deforestation. They're struggling with, there's no, because of the war, the violence, there's no education. We need to empower education and not the previous education that has been brought by, the European powers, because we were colonized by British. Actually, right now, I'm moving, because I was coming from Kenya to study and to do all this. Still, my process to get everything right, it's actually very difficult, and it's just the relationship between these superpowers, and it calls for us as Kenyans and the Haitians, young people, just to come up and say, what can we do? And I had this crazy proposal on going on a boat, a big boat, and in making it a music boat where artists come, make music, make art, make films, and then go around Caribbeans, bringing in anybody who wants to join in, because I believe we are going in the days where things are not getting better. Things are getting even worse. But if you can just have a hub, of hope that is moving in the oceans just to connect the world, I think that would also be really good. Just as, I've seen a peace boat or things like that that are happening. And I'm really inspired that, young people actually, and anyone can do something that is great.
Don't you have a fascinating, wait, just sorry, but you have a fascinating story. Didn't you take a boat from a long distance trip? Wasn't that you?
Yeah, I took a boat. I took a boat from Kenya to Zanzibar. There's actually Tanzania to Zanzibar, and it was a very short ride, but it really taught me a lot because as I was walking along the coastal, I saw the sea levels rising.
I read about it. That wasn't that short. I think it was kind of, for some reason, that was a big deal. I remember that was a celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, the sea levels are rising because of climate change, and even though climate change is also political, it just shows how much our consumption is out of control. We need to change how we consume. Plastic is, it's killing our fishes. How we produce, how we eat, how we do our things. We need to change that, and that will only begin when we start, looking at ourselves, going in our mental health, and start figuring out what can we do. If it's music that can inspire you, because I believe a lot of young people are hopeless, depressed, but music gives them hope. A lot of people they don't know what to do. They're jobless, but films makes them feel, I have hope. And I'm a product of that. Because of films, I got to believe that, what? Actually, I can live in a new world and a sustainable world, regardless of where I come from. I have seen.
Susan gave me a nice little donation. I'm gonna channel just a little bit of that your way. Get a beat from you and put that on the backdrop of this particular series right here on this particular show, right? Yeah. So make sure your music gets incorporated as part of this, and we can start working together and make sure that you get paid and make sure we have this time of global. We can start working together and trade and do this ourselves. Yeah. I'm going to throw Susan, then Madi. I think we're getting towards the end of the program. We've got 4 minutes left.
Thank you.
Thanks again to everybody for participating. Thank God your mic started working. You gave an awesome, little presentation there, man. Well, I love it. Yeah, that's what it's like. All right, go ahead, Susan.
Yeah, so listening to everybody, I'm now realizing that really, if I actually become president of the United States. The platform that I have, the changes I want to bring, paying mothers, giving a dad a day off so they can be a dad, bringing apprenticeships to all young people so that they have a career already at the age of 18 and they're ready to go. These things will all bring integrity and pride and self independence for everyone involved, and we'll already start seeing less stress and more success from everyone. And I think what happens in the US will then blossom out to the world, because a lot of people look to the US, a lot of countries look to the US and are inspired by what we do here, good and bad. Sadly, the bad is also inspiring sometimes to the wrong people. But anyway, so I'm hoping that I do become president, because the changes that I want to bring are the changes that the whole world needs, actually, when I listen to everybody that I meet all the time. And so anyway, on final note from me, I just want to say that tomorrow on my Facebook page, I'm going to be having my first sort of open mic or town hall on Facebook, where people can come in and talk to me, ask questions. It starts at 3:30 until 4. I'm just doing a half hour just to see how it goes. So if you want to look me up on Facebook, you can. It's Susan Lahaki, Susan Bookser Lahaki, and or on my. You can also find me on my website, which is susan4usa.com. And right now, I'm not in the primary, so you don't have to do anything about that. But later in November, I hope somebody will vote for me, and that maybe I can bring the change that I want to bring, which is also the change that I think a lot of you want too. So thanks for organizing this. Thanks for letting me talk, and this has been great. Thank you.
Marty had his hand raised. We're getting towards the end of the program now, so if anybody has anything, listen, raise your hands now. Go ahead, Marty.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to talk about a problem. I mean, one of our teacher in Institut Relations Internationales Stratégiques de Paris, International Relations and Strategy of Paris, was explaining us how the new colonization is going on. We need to be aware about that. Some of the multi-billionaires, a few multi-billionaires, are lending money to the governments, and then those governments are pushed under the pressure to begin wars and break the structure of some other countries, like in Libya, like in Iraq, and so on and so on. I'm not going to give all the examples. And then when the structure of that country is broken, those governments have to pull out their soldiers while they're responsible for civilians and common people's life. They just can't stay because it's too costly, and there is the pressure of media and so on and so on, and democratic elections. So they pull out, and in the vacuum of power, proxy groups and terrorist groups are growing as champions who are just fighting and fighting, and of course consuming weapons, and then some of the richness, oils and so on, are guaranteed for those multinationals by some of those proxy groups, and they are also selling weapons and so on. So the new colonizations is going on through some of those multinational, beautifully called, I mean, diplomatically called private security, and the gas and oil and so on are used or abused by them under without having any media projection on that. And the governments who launched those wars are considered as responsible, but we don't say that how much they were under depths and the pressure and what was behind that. So that was the only thing I wanted to add. And I hope always, and I think hope can help us, that through social medias we give more awareness to the people all over the world, and those multinationals become responsible too.
If we let the 1%, determine our future, then we deserve to be sheep. This is disgusting. Yeah, like we can start trading with each other and start helping each other right now. We ain't gotta wait for nobody. You know, I mean, we got to wait for
Exactly.
them. I'm not waiting for them. I'm gonna start doing deals with you guys right now. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lucci.
Yes, I know you're about to shut down, but I just wanted to thank the person from Colombia. I didn't get a chance to thank her. I don't know if she's still here,
Yeah,
but
You're welcome. I'm still here. You're welcome.
okay. Yes, thank you for saying what you said, and also shedding light on what occurred with the Colombian agents that actually executed the murder. But just to add on to it, they were also CIA trained, and were part of an exclusive unit in the Colombian military. Because it's almost like this. Like if you're gonna invade Haiti, of course you're gonna go by way of Kenya. And if you're gonna assassinate the president, of course you're not gonna send in the Navy SEALs, but you'll send in another thing that's in such a way. So,
I
thank you
guess
for
it
shedding
was,
light on such a thing.
yeah, it was said that your president didn't want to do something that he was pressed to, and it was narco traffic people. It is supposed to be the responsible one. So that's why I'm saying they need to say who gave them the order. And you, as in Haiti, you need to find out who asked them to do that. That's the most important thing, because that's where impunity goes. International laws that can oversee that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about it, and that is actually what started the popular revolt, because he was such a good president. Like he
Yes, he
was
was.
building the infrastructure so fast. It was incredible how the growth paced, and he was also trying to ally with other countries to try to bring in more equitable trading. And so when he was murdered, that actually what launched a popular revolt in a sense, and now it's full-blown popular revolt. Like, so they're like trying to find a way to go in, and so that the model is by way of Kenya, and we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, we have a bunch of cases here in Colombia that are like, they need to be clarified, and that's why international laws are there. Some of them are there, but there's not an organization that can just, because of so many reasons, you cannot say so many things. But just check it out. I sent you the link and go further than that.
All right, thank you.
We actually have key swing. Lillian, are you back in Carolinas?
Yes, I am back in South Carolina.
I have allies in the Carolinas and Pennsylvania and key swing states in the nation to try to affect policy. So we also have other techniques that we're going to try to get some progress on these issues. Yeah, not just talking to the ambassador and other things. So I'm really excited to it. Yeah, it's about time. Thanks again.
Yes.
Once again, I would love to have you guys on for your own panel discussions on your own issues, right, to talk more about them. But this is just a general get-together to get everybody together and just see what we could share with these policies and stuff, right? Thanks so much for being part of it, all right? God bless.
Thank you.
That's
just
it,
one
folks.
one last thing, DJ, please. I sent you something in the chat, but that's going to be maybe for another program. And I'll send it to your email. So if you don't mind to send it to the candidates and world leaders, we'll appreciate it. And feel free to give them my contact. Thank you.
I sure will. And Emmanuel, did you have some type of event going on after this? I think you might have had an event going on after this.
Yes, we have an event in Colombia, South America, which is going to be the COP16. That is one of the best, biggest events worldwide. So I will send you some information
I definitely
about
want
it.
to check that out. Yeah, you were a great speaker today, but one of the best. But what about Emmanuel Pastrike? Did you also have something coming up later tonight?
Thank you. No, right now,
Emmanuel's
because
gone?
we just
Okay.
finished it. Yeah, we did it earlier, but I will send you some information. The thing is that we have in Spanish, but yeah, thank you so much for your invitation. Thanks.
Thank you so much. God bless. Okay, good night, folks.
God bless
Thank you.